Time's up. Let's do this.
Yeah, but that said, of course, whatever you call it, Sludge Bletcher, right?
Sludge Belcher.
Sludge Belcher, yeah. Sorry. So that card is just not available for use today, and we'll see if that's going to be the case. But that was actually really maximum BM by adyb. He couldn't possibly have not seen that. We'll see.
Yeah.
So,
again,
Druid up against a Druid here.
Yep. So it looks like adyb is going to stay with his ramp Druid with the Argent Commanders and Ancient of Lores and Wild Growth. So let's see what Kurenai decides to play. So I'm not, despite being a Druid player myself, I'm not that familiar if a token Druid or a Watcher Druid can beat out ramp. Because at the end of the day, you're playing the same spells, you're trying to get the same value. But something like Swipe can stop a token Druid, and something like big taunts from ramp can stop if you put a Mark of the Wild in a Yeti is a bit of value. Harrison Jones is definitely a dead card in this matchup because Druids don't really pack weapons. That's not their style. They like branches and trees and stuff. So
he might as well play Naked Harry Jones. I think that's good.
That's right. 5/4 for 5 is not bad. It's still a bit of a threat. It can get stopped by something like Druid of the Claw, but not anything to sneeze at. That's still 5 attack.
Yeah, it's still pretty beefy and packs a punch there. So here comes the Shapeshift, and that's going to deal 1 damage. Fantastic, so hyped up for that. Next we're also going to see... What a high play, indeed. So adyb will play the Chillwind Yeti.
Basically the MVP of the basic cards. Chillwind Yeti is so much value. It's 4/5 for 4. And it's a big beast. It's free. It's basically in everybody's deck as long as if you're playing any decent sort of mid-range minions, Yeti is gonna make an appearance. So Yeti has been the MVP in many games. So that's a pretty good. If you can play that on turn 1, that's even better. So
I've seen before turn 1, coin innovate Yeti, and the next thing you know, your opponent just concedes there.
Yeah,
it's just that effective. Look at that basic cards. That's all you need in this game. One turn, one Yeti. Exactly. So here what he can do is he can run the Chillwind Yeti into his engine as well as play a Wrath just for extra card draw and effectively hero power deal 1 damage to the face to at least snatch off the armor on Kurenai.
Yep, that's right. So it looks like Kurenai might be playing either a Watcher or a Ramp Druid himself. I don't generally see many Senjin Shield Masters in a Ramp deck. It might be a Watcher deck actually, so we shall see. How are the rest of his cards?
Well, there's a Wild Growth there, there's Druid of the Claw. I'm thinking it's more like a Taunter Druid kind of a deck where there's a lot of taunt. So he decides to go for Druid of the Claw. That's a 4/6 there. This is not a Rogue, it's a Druid. So Druid, technically speaking, they have a bit of a problem dealing with, taunts and big minions in general. So he does top deck a Black Knight, but it's only 4 mana for him. And he can Wild Growth here, so at least next turn he can kill the Druid of the Claw there. But we'll see. So yes, he's gonna Wild Growth and effectively gonna hero power and end turn. He's not gonna run into the bear there. You gotta be insane to do that.
Yeah, that's right. So he's just gonna wait out his turn. It is gonna be adyb's turn. He can silence the Senjin Shield Master just to get his other minions for 8 damage into Kurenai's face. He could also potentially get some card draw out of a Azure Drake. Let's see how he chooses to play this turn. I think he can go into silencing the Senjin and then going into hero power just to build back his armor back to 30.
He might want to Wrath for 3 and keep off the Growth for 2 just to kill the Senjin. I think that's a pretty good play there. But also this is fine, this is good. And now he's got 2 taunts up. So granted that Kurenai plays Black Knight, he's definitely going to kill a 3/5 instead of 4/3. And that also means that the Black Knight is going to die pretty easily here to keep up the growth as well as a 4/5 there in the field. So in general, he top decks a big game hunter, but there's nothing can do with the big game here. No game for big game.
A bunch of dead cards for both players. adyb with Harrison Jones and Kurenai with a big game hunter. Nothing to hunt. I mean, Yeti is just a medium game, so he's not that big of a game.
Yeah, mediocre game from the Yeti there, but still, it's pretty painful. 4 damage every single turn. You gotta be kidding me. So here comes the Black Knight. It's gonna kill the bear instead. So he decides to man up and deal with the Senjin with a little bit more thickness. And I don't know, I actually prefer if it kills the 3/5. Seeing 1 extra damage doesn't really mean a lot, and he can always Wrath the 4/3, but if it's a 3/5, generally Druid have a bit of a tougher time to deal with that. He can swipe and Wrath, but that's like 2 cards for 1. Not much value there.
That's right.
So-
That's right. So 5 damage is kind of a sweet spot for druids, not able to deal with toughness of 5 and up very easily. So they're kind of reliant on something like a Keeper of the Grove or any combination of cards, like you said, like a swipe into a Wrath, to be able to deal with threats like that. And of course, it's hero power. But generally, druids make a living out of putting bigger creatures than your opponent. And when they're faced against something similar, where there's a lot of value creatures on board with a lot of health, it's a bit of trouble for them.
Oh, it's a big trouble here. So what he can do effectively is, I don't know why he went with Azure Drake. I would have preferred if he played the Senjin to pick it off there, but that's still fine. So there we go. 4-1. I would actually prefer if he did that with Keep of the Grove, but I think he kind of want to save up the silence.
That's right. Yeah, I think he's just playing conservative, having silence. Both silences in hand right now, which you can
But
play
now the
both
swipe
in the
is going
next
to
turn.
provide so much value.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no. Ooh, ouch.
Either way, it's going to provide value. It's just that a Yeti wouldn't have died that turn. But,
Yeah.
oh well. So now he can kill the 2-3 and hero power to pick it off. Harvest Golem really doesn't have a good day. Oh, actually Kodo here. Yeah, Kodo. Maximum value. Wow.
Oh, here comes the Golden Kodo, taking out the Harvest Golem
Hero power
that
to
is
kill off
wrecking
the
his
damage
field.
spot.
He's not happy with with the Harvest Golem wrecking up his field, so he's just gonna take that out. Probably gonna hero power to take out the rest, the damaged Golem, and attack 3-4 to face. That's probably gonna be the end of his turn. And how is Kurenai's hand looking at the moment?
Ancient of War, double Keeper of the Grove, 1 Druid of the Claw, as well as a Big Game Hunter and an Azure Drake.
That is a lot of threats.
That's a lot, yeah, but the thing is that he doesn't have any synergy there, if you look at it closely. Because Big Game Hunter, yeah, he's not going to play naked Big Game Hunter right now.
Yep.
And he can play a 5-10, but that's going to get silenced and probably going to get picked off as well. So he's going to deal 2 damage on the 3-2. And another 2 damage on a 3-2, so that's going to kill it. And double Keeper of the Grove just to kill off 1 taunt.
That's... I don't know. I'm not too happy with that play, but I guess... 2/4s on the board is a bit of a threat, I guess. If he manages to put down a taunt next turn and adyb wastes a silence on it, then he can still ramp into his later creatures. So let's see.
Yeah, but swipe value, that's about it. Swipe value, fantastic there. And down goes both Keeper of the Grove, Children of Cenarius. Bye-bye. So we're going to see a pretty interesting Ancient of War here. But it's going to get silenced and...
That's right.
Oh, we picked it at 10-5. Wow. Pretty aggro, are we?
Oh boy.
So that's going to die.
Why? I don't agree with that play so much. 5-10
It's
with
a mistake.
taunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even
Probably-
5-10 with taunt is going to get silenced by Keeper of the Grove.
That's right. That's right.
So... No, not much of a big problem there. So deal 2 damage with the Moonfire. Kodo picks it up. And 4 damage directly to the face there. Kurenai is going to be down to just about 18 health in his Druid mirror matchup. Do you know adyb has 1 game up in his series?
So adyB's drawing into Scenarios is critical because Scenarios can use a skill which gives the rest of his minions +2/+2, so that makes him gigantic. It's especially going to be really tough for the Yeti and for the Keeper of the Grove, who are going to go into
It's lethal,
7...
by the way.
Okay.
No taunt is lethal. But, of course, there's a Sunwalker. And Druid of the Claw better go into taunt mode. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to at least save Kurenai for a little bit. Oh, but that Savage Roar, though. Who cares, right?
And that is pretty much it.
No, but he doesn't have enough mana for that. So, no Innovate. If not, it would have been game. He can use the Azure Drake to kill off the 4-6, but he can only deal 10 damage in this turn.
That's okay. I think this is pretty much in adyB's adyB's hand. Well, literally in his hand with Savage Roar and a potential silence to get past any further taunts from the side of Kurenai. So adyB looking very strong in this first game.
Oh, 1 big silence and that's it. That's
second
why
game,
he's
sorry.
been... Yeah, that's why he's been saving the Keeper of the Grove. Because he knows that at crucial moments like this, Savage Roar and a Dispel is going to win him the game.
That's right. So as we said, effective removal not really the forte of Druid. So hanging onto your silence, hanging onto the most value you can get out of something like a swipe with a Blood Mage style nose is critical. And as adyB is showing us in the second game, keeping that silence up until the very last moment when you need to win has been critical. And he is taking that. That is 2-0 for adyB, isn't it?
Yeah, 2-0, that's right.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So ADYBs. One of the last two Singapore players is, showing his worth.
Yep, good stuff there. So we are going to this next game. And this is so far a 2-4-0 victory for adyb. It's still not over, seeing how they're playing to a best of 5. And we'll see what this Shaman can do here. Shaman has been wrecking havoc in this tournament so far. We just witnessed Shaman killing 3-0 over at the other game, right? Was it Warnico with the Shaman? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then Shaman is particularly good against Druid because he has a lot of efficient removals with the Hexes, with Lightning Storm, and a lot of options for the finishers with potentially Leroy. I've seen them with Ragnaros. I've seen them with Alakir the Windlord. So lots of options for Shaman, assuming that he can get a lot of early game presence, assuming he can control the mid range, the mid game, as is his specialty, and then just setting up a big finish for the end. So let's see how it does against a Ramp Druid. So Ramp Druid, its bread and butter is basically building into a lot of threats and making sure your opponent runs out of options to deal with all of those threats. But as we said earlier, turn 1 Yeti, pretty devastating play for a lot of players. They're not able to deal with it for the next few turns, and Yeti able to deal a lot of damage as a 4-5 with nothing to silence.
But
nothing
the Frog Prince, though, here comes the Hex.
Oh no!
So that's effectively wasting the the coin and innovate. But at least he deals 4 damage and he puts out another Yeti. Can he top deck another Hex? I don't think so. Even if he does get another Hex, I don't think he's gonna use it on this Yeti because generally Yeti is not that big a deal. And now look how cute, 1-3 killing the frog there.
Oh my gosh. So very interesting opening plays. It's pretty exciting opening play with a turn 1 Yeti and a Nerubian Egg now weaponized with a Defender Vargas. And adyb still not out. That's still another Yeti in play. He can possibly play into a. Would have been nice if he had a silence right now for that egg.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And then clear the board, but unfortunately.
That's a big drawback because what he can do here is he can rough for 3 on the Nerubian Egg and run a 4-5 into the 4-4. I think that it's just too much, too expensive a play for him, and he's not gonna do that. So he's just gonna play Drake and pass. That's bad because right now this board synergy is gonna slowly shift in favor for Kurenai unless adyb address the egg, and he's gonna have to do it sooner or later.
That's right. So unfortunately this time, as opposed to the last game, he doesn't have any silences in hand. So dealing with the 1-3 now is, I think, a better idea than dealing with it later. He can actually possibly Starfall, just bump one of his creatures into the egg, and then Starfall the 4-4 Nerubian that comes out. So let's see how he decides to play this turn.
Alright, so Nerubian comes out on its own there. Pretty good self-hatching technique we have there from Kurenai. And for adyb here, we are looking at, well, he can just taunt up and ignore, but we'll see if he plays that. I will go for Raph and Senjin. I think that's a pretty interesting play because you can Raph for 3, kill the Mana type. Mana type definitely needs to die there. There's no doubt about that. And you can either choose to run a 4-5 into the 4-4, or you can play Senjin and ignore. But generally against a Shaman, Shaman don't really have minion buffing stuff. They cannot really buff up the minions a lot, except for Bloodlust, which your opponent's not going to play so early on. So, yeah.
Although there is Flame Tongue Totem, but that's not a direct buff onto the minions. That's just a side effect of it being a totem.
Yeah, Flame Tongue, you can always play the Azure Drake and Starfall to clear it off.
That's right.
I think that would deal 3 damage across the board, but it's a little bit expensive, of course. We'll see what he can do here. So back to Kurenai's hand, he does have a Doom Hammer, Defender Argus, Azure Drake, Earth Shock, as well as a Lightning Storm.
So how do you feel about Earth Shocking the Yeti?
I don't like that.
You don't like that?
There's a lot of stuff that the Druid plays that is much more value for Earth Shock. Like, for example, Sunwalker. You might also want to Earth Shock something like a Violet Teacher if this is a token Druid. I don't think it looks like a token Druid, but yeah. You can also want to Earth Shock the 5/10 Ancient of War. Those are good targets for Earth Shock because instantaneously it's like dealing 5 damage. If you Earth Shock here, yeah, you kind of save tempo for yourself, but really you can just play something like a Lightning Storm to pick it up. So he's still gonna Earth Shock anyway, and yeah, that's not really gonna be good. So Scenarios, yeah, another good value target, value minion here for adyb.
Yeah, he's still a couple of turns away from using it, but I think he's just going to play Azure Drake now, maybe possibly into hero power. Possibly he could draw into a second Wrath to get rid of the 2/3. Let's see how he plays this out.
Elokar comes out here for Kurenai, and he can always play the, I don't know, he can always totem up and hope for Lightning Storm top rolls to kill off the 4/4. But even then, the Senjin is still gonna stay alive here. In trade though.
Yep.
And
So
effectively, yeah.
So what's it looking like for Kurenai for the next few plays?
Well, it doesn't really have an outright combo, I feel. So that's why he's like playing stuff like Azure Drake and Totem Up, Enter and Pass. There's nothing he can really do. He doesn't have Flame Tongue. He only has got more answers than, you know, problems.
That's right.
For adyb to handle. He does have Feral Spirit as well, but that again is more like a bit of a slow tempo kind of a thing, where you just slowly play that. I would like to see him establish some form of board control, but that's not going to happen so soon.
Yep. Well, he can. Oh, it's 8 mana. It's not enough. He can Starfall to get past some of these creatures. He can Starfall for 2, and then Hero Power into the 2/3 just to get rid of it.
It's going to be 3 because of the Azure Drake.
Right. Oh, right. And then he can
That's,
get rid of the.
Yeah, that's a very sneaky play because if there's a Senjin and there's a Azure Drake, normally your opponent wouldn't really care. This is why I don't like the Earthshock on the 4/1. I kind of prefer it on stuff like this, that you know you're not going to get past the 3/5, so might as well, right?
That's right. That's right.
So here's the Nerubian Egg pickup for Kurenai.
I think it's a little late at this point, but you know, the Nerubian Egg is it's just for 2 mana. Still a lot of value. You're effectively getting a 4/6 out of it. But he chooses instead to play Feral Spirit just to put up some sort of defense and try and build back his board control. And adyb is going into turn 9 with the potential to have a scenarios to put to 2/2 on all of his minions. Possibly good value. He could also choose to Ancient of Lore.
Oh wow, Force of Nature. Hello, lethal.
Wow.
He has Innovate as well, so he's gonna innovate into a Silence here just so he can address the irritating egg.
Oh my goodness.
Because you can imagine how troublesome it's gonna be if Kurenai plays Defender Argus like he did just now, and he does have a Defender Argus in the hand there. So here Kurenai is possibly gonna play Elokar. Elokar is gonna kill the Senjin Shieldmaster, as well as probably gonna kill the Azure Drake as well, but that doesn't really matter because we're looking at potential lethal in this next turn here for adyb. Yeah, it's lethal. Come on.
That's right. Yeah.
Definitely lethal.
So Force of Nature and Savage Roar combo, as we know, is 14 damage by itself. So just one other minion that has 2 attack is going to be enough to kill Kurenai.
Yeah,
So,
we might
oh
be
my
looking
goodness.
at another 3-0, guys.
Oh my gosh.
This
and
is
not
the
from
third
a Shaman
game.
this time.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
interesting. Ramp Druid from adyb taking it 3 games in a row.
Lightning Storm though.
Lightning Storm though.
Rock Pyre to kill the
that's not enough,
5/3.
I think.
Yeah, well it is actually. So all the minions gonna die. And because everything goes, there is nothing else that could deal extra 4 damage. So 14 damage is his best here. He might want to play Argent Commander, or maybe play Scenarios, try and set up a bit more tempo again. Yeah, I think Scenarios is the play here.
Yep, just to have enough minions on the board for like just for the Savage Roar. All you need is 4 more damage. You really, it's not much.
He's gonna play Fire Elemental here for Kurenai. It makes a lot of sense for him, but he is, because of the mana overload, he cannot play Defender Argus, he cannot play Doomhammer, he can only play 1 card effectively out of all the 4 cards there. So if he does play Fire Ellie, it's game. If he plays Elokar, it's still game. So is it game? I think it is, right? No, wait, it's not. If he plays Elokar, it's not game because Elokar will not die, right? So then I will see.
I think it's still game because you can run into face for Elokar to get the Divine Shield off, and then you can use two of the trees. But yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. 2 of the trees will kill Elokar, and then the rest will just go. Wow, Snare is dealing for 7 damage.
Oh my gosh. Scenarios is mad. His trees are mad. And adyb.
adyb showing that he is indeed one of the best in Southeast Asia.
You're just saying that because he's from Singapore.
No, I'm saying that because he's kind of consistent. He kind of won in the C versus CN challenge as well.
Yep. And adyb has not lost a single game. Let's just point that out. In the entire bracket, he's been 3-0ing every single tournament opponent he's had right now, and he is going into grand finals undefeated.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy stuff. So we're now looking at adyb going into the grand finals and Kurenai going down to the bronze match. 3-0. What a big game it is for adyb. On the other hand, I think we are now waiting for Where Nico and I'm Biscuit to finish the game. Once they are done, then we will go into the second semifinal. So we're gonna take a bit of a 15 minutes break or something like that, and we'll be back right after. That's it, Katips. Any shout out?
Shoutouts to everybody left in the tournament. You guys are doing well, especially to adyb playing exceptionally well, undefeated in the tournament, representing my deck, the Ramp Druid. Yeah, I've switched from Hunter. But yeah, I'm really happy to see that the variety of decks in the tournament, the variety of players. We're seeing Miracle Rogue, we're seeing Zoo, we're seeing Druid and Shaman wrecking havoc. And yeah, so it's a lot of variety, it's a lot of high-level play, as expected from our Legend players. And it has been a nice afternoon of Hearthstone. Hope you're all enjoying yourself. Shoutouts from sunny Manila right now. And Babel, take it away.
Alright, so we'll see you guys in just about 15 minutes. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We'll be back just right about then. And also do note that there is a insane amount of delay on the stream, just so that there is it's like a little bit of an anti-ghost that's in place here. So that's fair. And I hope you guys enjoy this cast as well as series. We'll be back real soon.